Let's look at my eBay results for the month of March 2023. We're going to dive into the eBay reports. We'll look at my metrics. We'll look at profit and cash flow. And what's really interesting is we'll extrapolate the numbers out to the month of December and see how I would do based off my current results. Is it good news or bad news? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to eBay with Chris. I am on a journey to build an eBay business from $0 to $3,000 monthly profit in just 12 months. In today's video, we're going to look at a lot of numbers. So if you have any questions or comments about any of those numbers, please comment below and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. I've also included timestamps in the description if you want to skip around and look at certain sections. Feel free to do that. And if you want to pause the video and look at one of the charts really closely, go for it. Have fun. Hopefully you learn something and it helps you in your eBay business as well. So let's go ahead and start by diving into the eBay reports. Let's go. Okay, so here we have the report for March 1st through March 31st. As you can see, we'll start with the quantity sold, which was 64 items. And I'm not going to do a what sold section because that's a lot of items, but I will break down what I sold by the type of item, and maybe we'll look at some of the brands as well, just so you have a general idea of what is selling for me. You can look at the total sales there, $2,302.09. My selling costs, my eBay selling costs were $875, and that's 38% of my total sales. A little bit higher than I would like it to be. I'd like it to be in the 36%, but we'll dive into that and see what's driving those numbers. And my net sales, or my net payout from eBay, $1,305.81. And finally, we'll look at the average sales price per item, which was $35.97. That's much higher than my plan. My plan is to have an average sale price of at least $28, which would give me a profit per item of at least $10 per item. So we're going to dive into that as well and see what my profit per item was, and to see how I'm trending against my plan. So, okay, and this graph shows my sales for the month. You can see my total sales on the left-hand side, $2,302.09. And the item sales, so this is what the customer or the buyer paid for the item itself, was $1,554.92. The buyers also paid shipping and handling of $625.89, and they paid taxes and other government fees of $121.28. So that's where the total comes from. If you look at the chart itself, you can see that I had pretty consistent sales over the month with a trending upward, even though there were some spikes and some low points as well. But it looks like, if I count the days without a bar in them, it looks like there's only 6 days during the month of March where I didn't have a sale. So that's pretty good. I love the consistency. I'm excited about that, and I just want to see those sales dollars per day continue to rise. Okay, so this chart is the selling costs, the breakdown of the selling costs. So you can see the total selling cost for the month, $875. The eBay fees were $374.73. And those are broken down even further. The final value fees, which is what eBay charges for basically promoting and selling your item, $306.65. And then for ads, I also do ads on a lot of my items. So once an item has been in my store for about 3 weeks, then I'll go ahead and put it on ads to get some more eyes on it. And I only paid in ads $60.49 for the month. And I typically will put my ads on at 5%. They also have a transaction credit there of $20.66. That's probably from an item that was returned. And then of course there's the account fee, because I do have the base level store, and that is $27.95 per month. And then I also paid my cost for the shipping labels to ship it to the customers was $500.27. So that's where the total comes from to get $875 even. Okay, so I broke down the 64 sales for the month. I wanted to kind of see what the mix was. So I had 19 shirts sold, 17 coats, 14 pairs of pants, 10 hoodies or sweatshirts, 2 socks or shoes, 1 pair of shorts, and 1 beanbag chair. So that's how my 64 items broke out. It looks like obviously the majority of the items I'm selling are shirts and coats and pants. So those are and hoodies as well. So obviously that makes up the biggest part of my sales, and those are the things that I find at the Goodwill bins, and they seem to sell pretty consistently. As far as brands, my brands were really spread out. So of course Nike was number one. I sold 6 Nike items. And the next item was only 2 per brand. So Lucky brand, I sold 2 items. LL Bean, I sold 2 items. Wrangler, 2 items. Lands' End, 2 items. And the North Face, 2 items. And pretty much everything else was just 1 item per brand. So really spread out. I'm not focused on certain brands or certain types of clothes. So my inventory has a lot of variety. Something for everyone. So now let's look at the metrics for the month. So I focus on 3 main metrics. My first metric that I focus on is my store size. So when I do the math, and all these metrics will come together at the end, you'll see how they make sense. So I need 2,000 items in my store in order to achieve my goal of $3,000 profit. So to do that, I need to add 50 items per week. And if I continue to do that, which I have been doing, my store increases 50 items per week. By the time I hit December 1st, I'll have over 2,000 items in my store. So my store started with 140 items on March 1st, and I ended the month with 380 items. So I added 240 items over those 4+ weeks. So growing steadily towards 2,000 items. So metric number 1 is on track. So metric number 2 is to have a sell-through rate of 0.5% or greater. Now the sell-through rate is how many items you're selling per day, how many of your items in your store you're selling per day. So if I have 2,000 items in my store and I have a 0.5% sell-through rate, that would mean I'm selling 10 items per day. So 0.5% of 2,000 items is 10. And so a 0.5% sell-through rate with 2,000 items would mean 10 items sold per day, or 300 items in the month. And if I have a $10 profit, which we'll talk about next, then that would be $3,000 profit in the month. So for the month of March, I sold 64 items and over that 31 days. And I'm going to go ahead and use the calculation of my average number of items in my store. So starting with 140 and ended with 380, my average was 260 items in my store. So to calculate sell-through rate, you take the number of sales divided by the number of days in that period, and then divide that by the number of items in your store. So for me, I had 64 sales divided by 31 days, and divide that again by 260 items in my store. It gives me a sell-through rate of 0.79%. So that is much higher than 0.5%. So I'm really excited about that. I also decided to go ahead and look at what my sell-through rate would be if I divided it by the maximum number of items I had in my store during the month. So the max at the end of the month, I had 380 items in my store. Doing the math again, my sell-through rate is still above 0.5. It's 0.54%. So I'm definitely trending well above my goal as far as my sell-through rate. A good sell-through rate tells me that I'm doing some things right. So for example, I'm buying items that people want to buy. I'm pricing them correctly or competitively. My listings are good. I have good pictures and descriptions, and my titles have keywords that help people find my items. I'm also promoting items with some ads so that more eyes get on items. And I'm sending out offers consistently. So when there's anyone that's interested in an item, I send them an offer for 10% off. I do that every day. So I'm doing some things right in order to get the sales that I need to have that kind of a sell-through rate. Okay, and metric number 3 is to have a $10 profit per item. Now let's look at the numbers. So I had a net sales from eBay of $1,305.81. And I sold 64 items. Now my cost per item is $3 per item. That includes my expenses as well. So let's break that down. So my average buy cost for the month of March was $1.80 per item. I bought all my items in March at the Goodwill bins. And the rest of that $3 expense covers things like laundry, storage boxes, labels to print on, print my labels on, poly bags for storage, and well as poly bags for shipping. So when I add the $1.80 of my buy cost per item plus another $1.20, which is plenty enough to cover those other expenses, I'm assuming an average cost of $3 per item. So if I look at the 64 sales that I had and multiply that by $3, my total cost of those sales was $192. And now if I subtract that from the $1,305, so I take the $1,305.81, subtract $192 from my cost of goods sold, my profit on those items was $1,113.81. So now let's calculate my profit per item. So I take that $1,113, divide it by 64, and my profit per item was $17.39, well above my $10 target. So really excited about that. Now I was curious, what would it look like if I extrapolated those numbers for my month of March into the month of December? What would it look like if I had those same numbers, the same sell-through rate and the same profit per item, but my store was much bigger? So for example, in December, my goal is to have 2,000 items in my store. Now, if I had a 0.79% sell-through rate with that many items in my store, I would have 15.8 sales per day. Multiply that by 30 days, I would have 474 items sold during that month. My target is to only have 300 items sold, or 10 per day. But if I continue on the same trend, I would have 474 items sold, which blows my mind. And then let's multiply that by the profit I got per item in the month of March. Instead of a $10 profit, which is my target, if I multiplied 474 sales by the profit of $17.39 per item, my total profit for the month would be $8,242 of profit. It blows my mind. $8,242 of profit. That's crazy. Of course, that's not counting other expenses and taxes and things like that. But that's well above. That is like 2.5 times my goal of $3,000 monthly profit. I don't know if I'm going to get there. I don't know if these numbers are going to maintain or if they're going to drop, but I'm definitely excited about where this business is going. And if I stay focused on buying things and being really selective in what I buy, I know I can hit those numbers. If I stay focused on buying items with good ratios of sold items to listed items, that means, like they have 100 sold items in the last 90 days and they also have 100 listed items, or even like 50 items sold and 100 listed. That would still be a good ratio for me. And I also want to make sure I'm buying items that are valued at $20 or more. That will help me to continue with this really positive trend. So I'm going to focus on those things in the next few months for sure. So let's go ahead and look at cash flow for the month of March. Okay, so I went to the Goodwill bins 4 times and I spent $476.28. I bought 265 items, so my average cost per item was $1.80, like I mentioned earlier. I also had other expenses for the month. So I spent $101.43 on other items. For example, $32 on printer ink, $8 on poly bags for shipping, $52 on laundry, and $9 on boxes for storage. So if I take my eBay payout of $1,305.81 and I subtract the Goodwill buys of $476.28, and I also subtract the other expenses of $101.43, I am cash positive for the month of March, $728.10. So pretty excited about that. It's great to have a business that's in the positive, right? Well, those are my numbers for the month of March. If you have any comments or questions, please put them below and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to follow me on my adventure or my journey from $0 to $3,000 monthly profit, go ahead and click this button to subscribe. And if you want to see my other videos that describe some of my numbers for my weekly reports, as well as like Goodwill shopping bins and what sold videos, go ahead and click on this one right here.